Hi friends, it's Monique, your slightly awkward journaling buddy. Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for the support so far. It really means the world to me. Today we will be making a really easy no-sew, beginner-friendly junk journal. And we'll be making it from actual junk, from interesting pieces of paper and some really beautiful vintage finds. So grab your coffee or your tea and let's dive right in. So for the cover today, I'll be using an old used brown A4 envelope. And I'll just make it a little bit sturdier with some cardstock that's also scrappy junk. And I would be beautifying it with some book papers, different styles, because I need to do something on the inside as well as the outside. And I was thinking about collaging some different scrappy pieces of paper. So I've got a selection of napkins and pattern paper and packaging and scrapbook paper and some doilies that I didn't use up, even baking paper. So we'll see where this goes. Signature, I've got a selection of different junky papers as well as new papers. Interesting things like this little gift bag, and I think this is Portuguese, I might be wrong. Book paper and some pattern paper and old envelopes and even packaging paper for when I do receive junk journal supplies. And then also some tea-dye paper and other plain papers. So if I fold these in half, I should have 24 pages to write on. A collection of fabric and lace that I'd be using either as tabs on the side or running the lace on like the side of the journal, which is a look that I absolutely love. I don't think I'll be using all of them. I don't want the journal to be too chunky, but I've got a nice selection to work with here. And I've also selected some ephemera. So between handmade items and scrappy strips and some found vintage ephemera, old gift card and a old library card, some other junky pieces and handmade pockets and envelopes, and onion skin dyed doilies, 2 envelopes, tags, index cards that I've tea dyed, and some Christian ephemera, and obviously this beautiful envelope that you used to get the patterns in for sewing. But I don't think I'll be using all of them. I just took them out for a nice selection. So if you guys want to see a tutorial on any of the handmade ephemera items, just give me a shout out in the comments below and I will surely make a video for you. So let's get started. So as I said, I'll be using a piece of junk cardstock to reinforce the inside of the journal. So I was thinking about just slotting it in there, but I think I do need to put some glue on it just to ensure that it stays more or less in place. But I don't think it's going to be too much of a bother, but I'm quickly just going to apply some glue. Today I'm just using Dala's paper glue. I also want to glue this flap shut because of the tear, and I don't want to make a pocket for this journal out of the envelope. If I want a pocket, I can always make a plan later. So I'm also just going to apply some glue here, and I'll just use my finger. I know it's not a good idea, but I'm not known for my tidiness when it comes to crafting. So I'm just going to glue that shut. So now it is a bit thicker, and it's obviously going to get thicker still because I'm going to cover the inside of it because this does not look pretty. And obviously the outside's going to be a collage of different scrappy bits, which I think will look awesome. So I'm just going to fold this in half now so that it starts drying in position without wobbling too much. I think the other issue we might have is the outside will look pretty good, when it's folded, but the inside, yep. So I'm gonna have the signature bound in here, so it won't be too visible, but I still think that I need to cover the inside of this just to make it appealing. Just gonna wait a while this dries nicely, and then we'll start with the collaging. Doesn't this just look scrumptious? I let the cover dry under a heavy book for a while, so that's ready to go. So let's start decorating. So I was thinking of using the plainer kind of book paper in bigger pieces for like the base of it, and then do some covering with the more exciting papers. I'll just quickly pause here between inking and just quickly tell you about journaling and what it means to me. Journaling has become an escape for me and a way to cope with overthinking and anxiety and depression. And I've been journaling on and off my whole life, but an avid journaler I've only been for the past 3 years. Some days I have a lot to say, and other days barely anything. But in the past 8 months, I've combined the daily journaling style, like the real Dear Diary type thing, with the planner format, which means I literally documented my day-to-day life that helped me remember certain feelings and experiences and write about them and assist me with understanding other people and myself better and manage my day-to-day life. I have learned so much about myself over the past 3 years, and I hope that this channel will help you find your perfect journaling style or artistic outlet to help you cope with your day-to-day. And I thought I'd just share one of the journals that I made for myself in that style. So this one I used between February and May, and I made it out of an old brown paper shopping bag, and I covered it with some fabric, and I made a little book plate from an old button and just a closure from ribbon. But I'm not going to show you everything because it's very personal. So I made a signature for each month, and this binder has 4 months in it. So I would have done the cover page from tea light paper, and I'd have the month calendar here and a water tracker. I'm not a very good water drinker, so excuse that, and a step tracker, which I'm also not I'm not very active. And then I had like little pages from another book that I took apart, and I just put it in so that I can do weekly planning. So this would be 1 week, and then I made little tags and pop-ins and stuff to do my to-dos on for that specific week, and then I just put them in a tuck spot or whatever. So I would do that for the full month, and then eventually I'd start writing and try and document my life and my experiences, my thoughts and feelings, prayers and worries, and also all kinds of little ephemera. You can put anything in there. And then I have the other one just finished up. I'm just going to show you the cover of that one. This one I used through the months of June and September. It's also 4 signatures, and here is just like I literally put ephemera in with paper clips of a women's morning we had and stuff like that. So also wrote in it every day, documented my life every day, and also did the planner side of it. So I've got a new journal that I'm going to be using for the upcoming months, which I'll show you a bit later on, but I'm going to do something different this time. So for the collage part, I'm just going to use a normal glue stick just to stick them down, because I'm probably going to cover the whole thing with paper, like a decoupage type of thing with the napkin. So I'm just going to start layering and putting things down, because I don't want to take all day with this. I can easily sit here until the cows come home, but I won't. Of course, I'll glue something to my hand. I should probably tell you guys what I used to do the inking. I'm using this Tim Holtz Distress Oxide Walnut Stain. And I had to DIY the brush part of my inking tool because I ran out of sponges, but I will get some new ones soon, I hope. It's not completely dry, but I don't have the patience to wait for it to dry. I want to continue filming, get as much done as possible today. Otherwise, I might not get the chance to finish up in time. I'm just going to chop off the edges that are poking over, and then I'm going to make a PVA and water mixture. It's 2 parts PVA glue and 1 part water to do decoupaging with the napkin and the sewing pattern. I'm also going to try see if I can put this in on the cover somewhere. I like this a lot, as well as these little phrases. It is not an exact science, and it does dry even if it's a little bit more watery than you would like. So this is what I'm going to be using at the moment, and I'm sure it will be fine. So napkins need to be separated. We've got, in our country, it's only 2 ply, so that's the one that you want, and a blank white one, which we will not be throwing away and using for some other projects later on. So I'm thinking that I'm only going to use parts of the image. I think I want one of the flowers on the front page, and I'm liking this one the most. And then also to use this, but I think I'm going to run this over the entire cover, like so maybe. I'm hiding too much of the pops of color, so I'm gonna tear that part off and just put that part there, and then do the napkin. I'm just making sure that all the lifted areas are down and wet, and all the air bubbles are out. I don't care about tears, I don't care about wrinkles. It makes it more interesting if it looks a little bit weathered. So that's that part, and I'm liking the way it's showing up on camera now, so I think I might just do No, I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm just going to get the napkin ready. So since I'm going to be using this part of the napkin only, I'm just going to use a wet brush to go around the image that I need. And it will just make it easier to tear it off properly. And you will see it's going to dry mostly clear. So you just literally gently tear at it after you made the white, the outline wet, and voila, there's that. And I'm not even going to worry about the jagged edges because that's not going to be an issue. So I'm thinking I'm going to put it on the edge, just off the fold like that, and see. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Off we go. Again, I'm just getting all the air bubbles out, and if it tears like it just did, don't worry, it's just that the solution I'm using is a little bit too wet for the napkin, but I don't care if it's not perfect. Impatient, I am. Perfect crafter, I'm not. Do I enjoy it? Absolutely. There we go. So I still need to add this little piece here, I think, or have it running around, or running from there to about there, possibly. And I'm just gonna glue it down. Way too much glue. Monique. I promised you fun spreads, not perfect work. Hope you're not disappointed. So I was thinking about folding this page this way around so that we can write like that. But I'm feeling adventurous today, so I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to go through all the signatures quickly and all the pages quickly and just fold them in half, and then I will put them together as a signature that makes sense and looks appealing. It's officially the next morning for me. For you, it was like I had to wait overnight to let this dry properly under a heavy book, and I think it came out pretty nicely. I was looking for this number for like 20 minutes. It was stuck to my arm. I don't have words, but anyways, I just added these little phrases here to make it a little bit more appealing, and then I will still be adding the bookmark on just before we do the final flip through. So for now, I just also folded in the bits of the papers that were longer than the A5 size, and we can either make them pockets by gluing the sides, or I'm going to leave them as flip outs and maybe put a tab or something there just to make it more interesting. So that's officially the signature done, and it fits perfectly inside of the cover. So I won't be needing to do any chopping off. It doesn't poke out anywhere. It's perfect, and the binding we're going to be using will also fit here nicely, so it won't be any issues. I'm not going to chop anything off. I'm not binding this with a pamphlet stitch. I'm just leaving it like this. The binding I will be using is much like the traveler notebook style of binding with the elastic. I'll show you how to do that now. So you can always remove a page from the binding, but I'll show you when we're done. So let's get into the binding process. I'm just marking more or less where I want the eyelets to be approximately, I'm going to have 2, so it's also going to help with strengthening the binding. I think those are a bit spaced a bit too far apart, but we'll see now. So I'm going to put eyelets in here and then attach the elastic. I think it's a fabric eyelet setter. I know that you get better ones on the market, and I know that the crocodile is also something awesome to get your hands on, but I haven't even seen one in South Africa, to be honest. Okay, so since I'm using silver eyelets, I thought that I'd use silver elastic. So I've got this really thin silver elastic that will be fine because it's not a really thick signature, and I'm sure it'll look great. Look at that. Yeah, absolutely awesome. So with this type of binding, you need to thread it from the outside. So I'm using both sides of the thread and taking them through both of the top eyelets. So you want a look that's something like that. And then when you do this side, you can just shorten one end and go from the inside out, and then from the outside back in. And now you have this. So technically we can do 2 signatures here, but I'm only going to do 1. Maybe I should split the 2 in half. That's a better idea. I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to make 2 signatures of 6 pages each, which means 12, 12. And yeah, so then you tighten this nicely. See? Just going to chop some of the excess elastic off. Right, so this is what it will be looking like on the outside. So it gives some extra protection there. And then when you put the signatures inside, I'm just going to split this. So I wanted this to be the front cover. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that will be perfect. Not too much thinking involved. So you align it nicely, and then you literally slip each signature inside, and it sits like that, and it's perfect. So if at any stage you do want to remove a page because you made a mistake, it's easy to remove and just add another page, or remove the entire signature and reuse the cover if that's something that you'd like to do. But in my case, I really like creating journals, so if I have an excuse to make a new one, I'll take it. So I really reuse a cover. So it is a bit gaiter mouthing, but we will be able to fix that up with time under some heavy books, I think, and if it stays closed for a while. Before I start embellishing, I remembered that I need to still decorate the inside of the journal, so let me quickly do that. I just used some book pages and I inked the edges, and I'm just going to quickly stick them down and ink the inside so that it looks all rusty. This is looking gorgeous so far, and with the inside also covered and the beautiful signatures. Let's start embellishing it. So I'm going to start with the lace and tabs, and then I'll see where I put what ephemera in and how much I'll be using. Maybe I'll be doing some stamping. I'm not going to do embossing today because this is a beginner friendly thing. So the idea is that you can go into your craft supplies and just make something like this. seepage of glue bothers you, then I would also have stapled this on, but I didn't know this was going to happen. This is a rather old page. I'm not sure when it was printed, but it's very brittle. Yeah, it doesn't bother me too much. If it really does bother me later, I can always just cover that up. So adding some lace and pieces of paper and so forth to the sides of the journal always makes it look a little bit more interesting. I love how this is looking. So let's get to the embellishing part. So I thought I'd just quickly, before I show you what I've done inside and how I'm going to embellish it inside, I thought I'd just share some of the benefits of journaling, and especially if you struggle with depression or anxiety or overthinking or any form of trauma, childhood trauma or adult trauma, it always helps to write it down. And I've noted some of the benefits of journaling, which are improved mental clarity, stress and anxiety reduction, increased self-awareness, enhanced creativity, a better goal achievement. It provides a private space for emotional processing, fosters mindfulness, and even supports a stronger immune system by helping process difficult experiences. You can do art journaling or Bible journaling as well, and this opens up a whole new spectrum of mental, physical, and spiritual health. So I'm quickly going to show you what I will be using for ephemera. This is turning out to be a rather chunky monkey after embellishing is done. So I think we need to do some sort of a closure, because that'll make me crazy if I have to press down on my gator mouth all the time. So let's quickly do a closure, and then I will do the book plates, and then we can do a flip through. After struggling my bum off, I got the closure done. Not too happy with how it's looking, but it's effective, so I guess it's a win. Let's quickly do the book plate and then do the flip through. I've decided I'm going to make this my prayer journal for the next couple of months. And doesn't this just look scrumptious? I love it. I love the look of it. I love the feel of it. And of course the sound. I think it came out pretty good. I'm rather happy with it. So let's do a quick flip through. I decided to put the phrase pray continually. As I said, I'm making this my prayer journal. I just added it on a piece of cork, and then you saw me struggling with the twine, the closure, so I put some beads on and I used a brad, and then on the inside I covered the feet of the brad with another piece of cardstock, and you saw me covering the inside with a book page just to make it look beautiful. I think it looks really nice. So the ephemera, I used a principle of I think this is a discount coupon, and my husband's guitar strings came in envelopes like these, so I thought it's pretty, I'll just put it in. And then I made 2 tags that go in this envelope, and I added some twine and ribbon, and obviously we added lace everywhere. I didn't embellish every page, but I've got a lot of writing space, as you can see, nice and blank pages. It's awesome, love it. And I added this old greeting card as well in this side of the envelope for extra space to write on, because I do write quite a bit. And obviously the tabs, and I added one of my scrappy strips here and a verse, Isaiah 45 verse 2, and a doily that I stuck to a piece of paper that you can also write on. And here I've got a big tag that I just folded around the page and added it with a sentiment card. I think it's also Christian, yeah. And I put that in with a paper clip. In this pocket I only put an index card for extra writing. It's got lots of writing space as well. And in this pocket I had to cut it open to make it a pocket, which is self-explanatory. And then I added this little page. I think it was an old letter writing block, Christian based as well, in Afrikaans. I love it. So that goes in there. And then lastly, I added an envelope which wraps around the page on this side, so you can write on it or put sentiments in it, and an old library card and a ticket stub. And that is that. I think it looks really beautiful. To show you my new journal that I will be using for the next couple of months. I'm going to add journals to my pile of what I use daily, because I want to experiment, and also for content purposes I'm going to have quite a few journals that I'm working out of. So this will be the one that I use mainly for healing journaling, day-to-day dear diary type of things, frustration journaling, excitement journaling, and memorabilia. So anything that I think is worthy of putting in here will come in here. This was made out of an old cookie box, and I used a 5-hole pamphlet stitch and an old button t-shirt, some old curtain, and some other tidbits. So if you guys want to flip through of this one, just let me know, then I will do a quick video on that one as well. But I made myself lots of writing space, and it's got lots of interesting ephemera. So I'm going to be using this one for a while for, like I said, healing journaling. But I think it looks scrumptious, doesn't that just look amazing? Join me on my journey of journaling in different types of journals: art journaling, prayer journaling, healing journaling, Bible journaling. Please like and subscribe my channel and follow me on the socials, and you will never miss anything. So I hope this video inspired you today and helped you to see that creativity really has no bounds, and you really don't need to conform to any specific form, any specific norm. You can truly express yourself by any means, and remember, it doesn't have to be perfect to be powerful. Bye.